the hidden Bible story for kids who feel ordinary. Parents, think about a time your child came home from school, dropped their backpack on the floor, and looked completely defeated. Not because they got into trouble and not because they failed, but simply because they felt completely invisible. In a world full of highlight reels, kids quickly notice who gets the trophies, who gets picked first for the team, and who gets all the attention. It doesn't take long for a child to look in the mirror and think, I'm just ordinary. I don't have a special talent. I'm not the fastest, the smartest, or the loudest. God can't use someone like me to do anything big. As parents, our hearts ache when our kids count themselves out before they even try. We want to give them confidence, but standard pep talks often fall flat. Tonight we are opening a hidden blueprint from a forgotten page of the Bible. It is a story tucked away in the book of Judges, a story of a man who didn't have an army, a royal title, or a grand platform. He was an ordinary guy with an ordinary tool, but God used him to save an entire nation. Let's look at the story of a man named Shamgar. To understand Shamgar, we have to understand his world. The Bible tells us that in the days of Shamgar, the highways were deserted, and travelers had to take winding, hidden pathways just to stay safe. A powerful enemy called the Philistines controlled everything. They would march onto family farms, steal the food, destroy the tools, and leave the people terrified and helpless. Shamgar wasn't a trained soldier. He didn't have a shiny sword, an iron shield, or a chariot. He was just a farmer trying to do his job. The only thing he had in his hands was an oxgoad. An oxgoad was a simple 8-foot wooden pole used to guide oxen while plowing the dirt. It was completely ordinary. It was a tool for chores, not for battles. But one day, the crisis arrived right at his doorstep. 600 enemy soldiers came to take what wasn't theirs. Shamgar had two choices. He could run away and hide because he didn't look like a hero, or he could stand his ground with the one simple thing he had. The Bible gives us his entire legacy in just one powerful verse. Judges chapter 3 verse 31 says, "After him came Shamgar, who killed 600 men of the Philistines with an ox goad, and he also delivered Israel." Think about that. God didn't wait until Shamgar got a sword. He didn't wait until Shamgar went to military school. God took an ordinary farmer with an ordinary tool and used him exactly where he was. This story anchors a truth that runs through the entire Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. As it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 27, God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God's power isn't limited by what our kids lack. In fact, God loves to use ordinary things so that everyone can see his extraordinary strength at work. Here's the parallel for your children today. Your child might look at their life and think their tool is too small. They might say, "I only know how to draw simple pictures," or "I'm only good at being a quiet helper," or "I just have a few dollars in my piggy bank." But Shamgar's life teaches us that when you place your ordinary tool into God's hands, it becomes a weapon for good. Parents, the sketch is drawn and the truth is set. Go ahead and hit the pause button right here. Let's move from the video directly into your family discussion. Take a deep breath, you've got the script. Here are your questions for tonight. Question 1 for the younger kids. Shamgar didn't have a sword, he just had an ordinary farm tool. What is something about yourself, like a hobby or a trait or something about yourself, that feels totally ordinary to you? Question 2 for the older kids. It can be easy to compare ourselves to classmates who seem to have bigger talents. How does Shamgar's story change the way you view the skills God has given you? And question 3 for you, mom or dad, to answer out loud for them. Share a time in your life or career when you felt completely underqualified or ordinary, but God stepped in and used you anyway. When we show our kids that God values faithfulness over fame, we free them from the pressure of having to be perfect. Equipping our children to walk in confidence doesn't take a seminary degree. It just takes a conversation. Like, share, and subscribe for more faith-filled family stories.